Good morning. This is Leevi, joined today here with Leaning on Jesus artist EVELYN Cormierer, the opening artist for our spring 2026 Rhett Walker concert at Ignite Church in Williston, April 10th. EVELYN, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so first question, because my 1.5-year-old granddaughter's name just happens to be EVELYN. It's the best name, and I love babies. How far along are you?
I am due next month.
All right.
So I'm maybe 8 months, a little over 8 months, but I am due next month, and my husband and I could not be more excited. It's just all feeling so real now.
Yes. Well, congratulations to you and your husband. And is your husband joining us so we can meet him this Friday?
My husband will be at the show. So yeah, if people want to stick around, he'll be around.
That's awesome, EVELYN. EVELYN, how was life growing up in New England?
I mean, I feel like any fellow New Englander knows about the cold, but when you're growing up in it, that's just your normal. You don't really know anything different. You think 7 months of winter is just how it is. And then I remember
That's right.
when I moved to Nashville for a couple of years, and spring started in February, I was like, what is this? But no, I'm back in New England and it's been great, but it does take time to readjust to the cold. I will say that.
You know what's funny, EVELYN, is I come from California, so I'm a California boy by nature, and we're almost 3 years into New England, and me and my wife couldn't be happier. We've got our 4 boys here, 2 granddaughters now, and we're loving it.
This is the best place to be, and I'm not just saying that. I've lived in California, I've lived in Nashville. I truly love living in New England. It's home. There's so much history here. There's so much ministry here. There's a real need for Christian artists to be performing and sharing their testimonies and writing music right here in New England. And so that's another big reason why I love being based here.
Amen to that, EVELYN. That was the heart's call that the Lord put on me and my wife's heart, is to come out here and share Jesus. Now here, we're working at the Light Radio Network and sharing the gospel. And I just tell you, I am honored and blessed every day to be a part of New England and what the Lord's doing here.
And he is doing stuff. He's doing a lot of things, and it's exciting to be a part of that and to watch it happen. And it's just really encouraging.
Amen. Amen to that. Tell me, what is God doing with EVELYN and music right now?
The craziest thing is that I've been doing music pretty much my whole life. And I did start in church, but then I was kind of in just more secular folk music, and I did the whole American Idol thing. And then over the last several years, I've transitioned into being a Christian artist. And the craziest thing about all of it is that now that I just signed with this label and we're putting out Christian music and they're sending my song to radio, and I'm super large and pregnant. And I'm like, I'm not really doing a whole lot of traveling right now. And I'm like, this is such a strange time for all of this to be happening, but God knows. And it really, being pregnant in the middle of my Christian music career right now, it really puts things in perspective, because there's a sort of like gravity and weightiness to the idea of becoming a mother.
Yes.
And it really puts things in perspective with my Christian music and, where my priorities are. But God knows everything. And so everything is in his timing. But that's where I'm at right now with my Christian music. I'm just trying to navigate what that's going to look like coming up, whether I'm going on tour this fall, how that's going to look with a baby.
EVELYN, it's such an exciting time for you and your husband. And gosh, this brings back the flood of memories, maybe a little bit of nerves. I remember when we were waiting for our firstborn, just being like, oh my goodness, this is happening.
Yes.
God bless you, to you and your husband.
Thank you.
The richness that God's going to do with this baby, and maybe a future artist in the making. Do you have anything to share on that end? Like a musical family, do you think? Or
the biggest thing that I love about doing what I do is that it really is a family affair. And so my dad's my guitar player, so he will be there this Friday.
Awesome.
He taught me how to play guitar. My mom comes to all my shows and she helps run the merch table. My husband's involved. So it's just a really really big blessing in my life to have my family so much by my side during like all this crazy stuff. But I do hope that my future children will enjoy being a part of it. I don't want to put the pressure on them to,
Sure.
go be an artist or whatever. But if they wanted to do that, I want to be able to come alongside them and support them as well.
You guys are so blessed. And this new addition, boy, our children treasures. Yeah, look forward to seeing your career in the future and all that God's going to do there.
Thank you.
Now, as a professional Christian artist, what would you say is your biggest wish or goal, at least here in 2026 for now?
As a Christian artist, my biggest goal, I would love to get on a tour this fall. I'd really love to get on the road and encourage more New England shows. I know a lot of Christian artists, it's difficult to do a lot of shows up this way just because there's not as much demand.
Yes.
You know what I mean? As there is, whether like in the Midwest or in the South, but there is a need, and I do hope to be a part of that.
I love what you said earlier, Evelyn, because I believe it with all my heart that the need is great here, and yet God's doing a big thing here in New England. And I think he's just looking for hunger for Jesus.
And I see several artists that are making waves in Christian music right now that are from New England. And it's really encouraging to see that too, because God knows what he's doing and he's lifting up people who he wants to lift up. And I'd love to see an artist from New England doing well and making waves for the kingdom with their music.
Amen to that. Well, I'm going to interject a little bit of levity here with a question. Any favorite embarrassing moments you'd want to share either backstage or on stage? Anything that comes to mind?
Yes. Okay. So this is a moment that happened while I was on American Idol. And I remember I had the honor of performing a duet with Chris Isaak, and he's the artist who sings Wicked Game. And it was a really popular song in the 90s.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so we got to sing that as a duet together. And I remember being backstage with him. I guess it's less embarrassing, but it was more shocking and just shaking for me.
Yeah.
We were backstage, and I've always struggled with stage fright. It doesn't matter how big or small the show is, I always get very nervous beforehand.
Sure.
And so I remember standing backstage with Chris Isaak, and he looked over at me and he said, "Man, I'm feeling nervous right now." And I looked at him because I'm thinking, this guy, he's the seasoned professional here.
Yeah.
He's got it. This has to be old hat by now.
Yeah.
And when he told me he was nervous, I was like, oh my goodness, I guess this is forever. But he told me that the nerves and just kind of the adrenaline that's, behind every time you get up on stage really drives the performance and just keeps it real. And so I've taken that with me, and that stands to reason, and it stands to be true to this day for me.
Yeah, that is so awesome, Evelyn. I'll tell you what, in California, I was working film production and video. I ran my business, and then God stopped that in 2020. And in 2020, I got into ministry, and I was the guy building a live stream in our local church in the background, behind the scenes, in a corner. And then God told me, go to New England, be on live radio. And I'm like, God, are you sure you know what you're doing? I'm the guy behind the scenes that doesn't like to be. So I totally understand what you're saying.
Yep.
It's very encouraging. So do you have a song that's maybe a favorite or maybe a little closer to the soul of who you are?
I mean, a song of mine or a song of just in general?
And now that you say it, I'm kind of thinking both.
Well, the first song that comes to mind as far as for me, I feel like Leaning on Jesus is my testimony. And it's a song that I wrote almost, I think, 3 years ago. And when I wrote that song, I had not seen the restoration that I've seen in my life right now. So when I was writing that song, I was in it.
Wow.
And so it's been really amazing to see how, God took that song, which is really my testimony and my story.
Yeah.
And I'm in such a different season now that I'm performing it than I was when I was performing it at shows when I had first written it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's just been night and day. And it's been so cool to be able to not only have me know about the restoration, but people have been able to watch God restore my life in real time.
Awesome.
And I think that that's the best part, because people can see, okay, God's doing that for Evelyn. I have hope now that he's doing something for me too, even though I can't see it, even though I'm in the middle of this horrible time right now. I have the faith to believe that restoration is on its way.
Evelyn, Leaning on Jesus is such a phenomenal song, and we've had the honor to play it here at the Light just recently. And hearing it for the first time, I'm like, Oh, yeah, this thing is fire.
Thank you.
And so I'm praying that this thing catches. It's so good. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that testimony, because I do believe, right? The blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony overcomes Satan, the darkness. I think that's living proof right there.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so now I guess it would be maybe a favorite song that you like. That's not yours.
I would say I really like the song Northern Attitude by Noah Kahan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I think that he's got a really cool sound. And I also, like I said, I love my New England artists. And so when I hear a really good, I gravitate towards folk music, truly. And so when I hear a really good folk song and it's about New England, you just gotta love it.
One of my sons is a Noah Kahan junkie, so I understand that. Evelyn, what would you say then to the prodigal son or daughter that is struggling right now with hope?
That's a really good question. I would say to not give up. And the biggest thing that really got me through some of my most difficult times over the last 5 years or so, two things. Somebody told me, you're not too broken to be used by God. And somebody said that God delights in using broken things. And so if you can get in the mindset that he's not done with you and that you're not too far gone, that you can just have the hope that, you know what, I can't see it today, but I know it's on its way because I know who God is and I know who God's character is.
Isn't that the true gospel message of not only being redeemed by his shed blood on Calvary, but then using us no matter how bad we feel we have messed up in life?
Yes.
Yeah, amen to that. Thank you for sharing that. What do you feel God is doing in these times we're living in? And I know that's such a general question, but do you have your own input, something from your heart that you are looking at the news headlines, you're seeing the world, and what would Evelyn say to that?
Yeah, you know what? I feel like God is stirring something in the hearts of the younger generation right now. And I'm seeing a lot of revival in Gen Zers. That's really encouraging to see because we are kind of this next generation that will be in power or rising in different positions and whatever. And so obviously there are things that you can see on the news and you can get scared and you can get anxious, but I just encourage you to keep your eyes fixed on the kingdom and keep your eyes fixed on God because he's in control of everything and there's nothing that's happening right now that's a surprise to him. And he is raising up people that love him and that are going to be following their calling.
Amen. That is so encouraging. And right there, you have heard it. EVELYN CORMIER laying it down. I mean, that's the truth, is it not? That's great. What would you say to our listeners as far as going into this Friday, April 10th at Ignite Church, what to expect?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a really fun night. I don't think I have played a show while pregnant. So this is my first,
All right.
I'm coming out of hibernation. So I'm going to give you guys everything I got.
Excellent.
I'm going to be sharing my testimony. I'm going to be sharing some music. Obviously, I've got to play Leaning on Jesus, but I'll be playing some unreleased tracks as well.
Awesome.
But there's just so much that I can't wait to share about God's restoration in my life and my testimony. And that's what you can expect from me, at least. So I'm very excited.
That is awesome, Evelyn. Evelyn, me and my wife are going to be there, and we look forward to meeting you and your family that's going to be there. I love the fact that you guys are so family-oriented because having talked now with Rhett Walker, he's got the same mindset in the heart.
Yeah, I love that.
I do believe God is doing something with families out here in a place that I have heard and seen myself, so much brokenness in the home.
Yes.
I believe God is stirring this, calling us back to really putting the family as a mission field mindset for the kingdom.
Yes.
That the brokenness that we see in the homes, that needs to be taken care of first.
Yes.
Before we share the gospel out of the four walls of our home.
That's very true. And even in the artist circle, I think it's so important that people see artists prioritizing their calling as husband or wife, father, mother, before anything else. And that's what I hope to also represent. You know, I really do take that seriously. If God's given you a spouse, if he's given you kids, then boom, there's your first calling.
Amen.
And everything else is secondary.
Preach it. That's right, Evelyn. Well, Evelyn, you have definitely got a heart after me and my wife and how we view that. It has been such a blessing and honor to talk with you. Now, I've got like my own curiosity of how was it to be on American Idol?
You know what? It was a crazy experience in all the good and bad ways. It's something that after you do,
Yeah.
you almost feel like you can do anything because you've reached the pinnacle of scary. Like the scariest thing I've had to do is perform in front of, like, on live television in front of millions of people,
Yeah.
and being judged, literally being judged. Like,
Right.
you can be concerned that people are judging your performance on the regular, but this is not like, they're judging you. They're sitting there watching, taking notes, whatever. America's voting.
Yeah.
And so it's very scary. But after you do that, you feel like, okay, you know what? I think I can do anything after this. This was the worst as far as like anxiety and stress. But no, it was a great experience. And it really has played a part in being a stepping stone in my career. And that's the way I looked at it even back then, not the idea of winning, but the idea of like, okay, God's opened these doors.
Yes.
And, whatever comes next is really just a part of the journey.
Yes.
And so I have nothing but good things to say about American Idol and the people involved with that. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
But definitely crazy.
Well, that's awesome. And I'm probably going to date myself here, but is Simon Cowell, is he the judge still? Is he, or one of the judges?
No. So the judges who were on the show when I was there was Luke Bryant, Lionel Richie, and Katy Perry. And I think they've even changed up the judge panel now. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but
okay.
But yeah, they change it up a lot.
That's one of those things that I'm not too much of a fan of American Idol, other than the fact that, boy, does it take guts to be up there and to do all that.
So listen, it's really scary. It's also, I would say I'm an introverted person, and which is kind of crazy. I think a lot of artists actually are.
Oh, really?
And then you just have to go somewhere else when you're doing a show or whatever. Like, obviously, when God's calls you to do something, you just got to do it. And so that's something that I struggle with too, is that I'm definitely very introverted. I never planned on auditioning for American Idol. And people throughout my life and childhood and whatever would say, you know what, Evelyn, you really should go audition for American Idol, whatever, do that. And I would say, no, I'm good. If they come to my door, then I'll go for it. And they're like, but that's not how it works. And I would say, then that's never going to be me then. That's never going to be me. But I remember I was sitting on my couch when I got a message from a casting producer, literally inviting me to a private audition. And I knew right then and there, I'm like, okay, God, here we go.
Isn't that something, how he pulls us into things that stretch our faith?
Yes.
And we're like, God, I know I can't do it, but I can do anything with you.
Yep.
And that's what I got to hold on to.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. That's a fantastic story. And I look forward to hearing more on stage. It's going to be so chill at Ignite Church. If you haven't been to Ignite, I think what you're going to feel is so much welcome, so much love from families, other people who are just there to praise Jesus with you.
I love that.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited.
It is going to be a fantastic night, April 10th at Ignite Church in Williston. Everyone, give EVELYN Cormier a round of applause, because this was a phenomenal interview, and I appreciate you, EVELYN, so much, coming out with your husband, your new family. This is so encouraging to be able to see what God is doing in your life. And I can't wait to be a part of it for you to share.
Thank you. Yeah, and thanks for having me too. It's just, it's all very exciting.
Well, God bless you. And thank you for this interview and this time. And me and my wife will see you this Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you Friday.